Recently, Insurance Institute of India launched this initiative called Bima Vikash Vartalap, wherein we reach out to industry leaders who would be sharing their thoughts and experiences on the overall development of the industry. Bima Vikas Vartalap is also aligned with the regulatory objective of Insurance for All by 2047. Our guest for today's program is Mr. Rushabh Gandhi. Uh, Good evening, sir, and let me welcome you to Bima Vikas Vartalap series on behalf of Triple I.
Good evening, and thank you very much, Dr. Ramesh.
Sir, for the benefit of viewers, let me introduce you to everyone. Mr. Rushabh Gandhi is the MD and CEO of India First Life Insurance Company Limited. He has been a key driving force and an integral part of India First Life growth story. His sharp business acumen and strategic thinking has helped India First Life to steadily gain market share and mind share of all the stakeholders. A visionary leader and an innovative thinker, Rushabh enjoys questioning the conventional and viewing challenges as opportunities. With over 29 years of experience across national and international markets, he has successfully implemented the best-in-class bancassurance-led multi-distribution channel strategy across the geographies. Rushabh has been bestowed with the Navbharat Transformational Leader of the Year 2022, Elite's BFSI Game Changer Award 2022 for Visionary Leadership, and the Indian Achievers Award 2021-22 for Business Leadership. Under his aegis, India First Life has won a multitude of prominent industry accolades, including India's Best Workplaces in BFSI by Great Place to Work Institute for FY 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022 consecutively. The Economic Times Best Brands for 2018, 21, 22, 23, and Life Insurance Company of the Year 2022 at the India Insurance Summit and Awards 2022, amongst others. Rushabh is an alumni of Narsi Monji Institute of Management Studies and INSEAD Fontainebleau. So this is a brief about Mr. Rishabh, our guest for today. Sir, please let me know if I missed any important point which you wanted to highlight in your corporate journey.
No, not at all. I think it's pretty exhaustive and pretty detailed. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, sir. Then with this, can we go ahead with our questions?
Absolutely, yes.
Sir, with IRDAI focusing on Insurance India by 2047, how should companies align with this core objective, and how will India First Life contribute to achieving this ultimate goal?
That's a very interesting question, and that's been asked by a whole lot of people of late. The vision is apparent and clear. Every insurable Indian should be insured by 2047. For that, every company will have to do their bit. As far as India First Life is concerned, a strategy is fairly simple and straightforward. We have always been proud of the fact. In fact, it's been a stated objective from the time we started our operations that we will be a multi-channel distribution organization, which is bancassurance led. So that strategy is intact and is not going to change. While bancassurance will be at the fore and do a large part of our business, we will also be in other businesses, and that will enable insurance for all by 2047. The second thing that we are doing as an organization is that we are supplementing a very strong bancassurance focus. We are in the process of setting up 100 branches on the agency side of the business. This is something that we've been trying to do for the last 3-4 years. Typically, when it comes to India First Life, what we tend to do is we test out things for a few years, maybe 3 or 4 in this case. Once we believe that we've got the formula right, that's when we go for a full-fledged rollout. We've been dabbling with the agency business for the last 3-4 years, And now we believe that we've got the right formula. Between now and the next 2.5 years, you will see us set up approximately 100 odd branches, which will help us tremendously towards the cause of insurance for all by 2047. Last but definitely not the least, insurance is being promoted through some government schemes, such as the Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana or PMJJBY, like it's fondly called. Delighted to share with you that we've been early adopters of the scheme. We've been participating in the scheme right since its inception way back in 2015-16, and we will continue to do so. This is a bite-sized insurance product wherein 2 lakhs of cover is offered to every Indian up to the age of 50. Like I said, simple and straightforward. It's a guaranteed issuance product and it pretty much helps in covering every Indian. These three things will help us partake in the journey of insurance for all by 2047.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir, for sharing. So the other thing which I wanted to check with you is insurance industry is 20 plus years old, but still the industry is struggling the most with mis-selling. IDA had initiated many steps, but still there is a gap. Please suggest, as per you, what needs to be done to eradicate mis-selling in insurance industry?
If you talk to an industry practitioner like me, I would like to believe that the checks and balances which have been brought in by the regulator and by various organizations, including organizations like ours, mis-selling is a misnomer of sorts. Today, just imagine a situation where a product has been sold to a customer. Or, just to make it simpler, let's assume I'm selling you a product. It's not about selling any product. Suitability analysis is critical. Furthermore, we also send you the customer information sheet, or the CIS as it's called, which pretty much encapsulates the entire policy contours in a single page. After the policy has come in, we do something called a pre-issuance validation call. Here, someone other than the person who sold you a policy will call you up and explain the policy to you one more time to ensure that nothing, absolutely nothing, has been missold. The regulator, on their part, has increased the free look cancellation period. All in all, a lot of checks and balances are being put in to avoid mis-selling. Unfortunately, mis-selling continues to be the buzzword. I would like to table that I'm very, very, very confident that in terms of sheer numbers, mis-selling in India has dropped substantially in the recent past. What seems to have happened is that lots of customers are now getting aware that at any point in time, if they don't believe that the product is the one that they had bought, or the product did not pan out the way it was anticipated, they tend to take the mis-selling route and tell the organization that the product was missold and that they should refund it. Again, unfortunately, there are a lot of these companies who have cropped up who are facilitating these refunds. It's becoming an industry of sorts, wherein customers are told that, hey, guess what? I know you bought a product. I know that it is probably the right product for you, but at any point in time, if you believe you can't pay the second or the third or the fourth premium, let's charge the organization or the insurer or its agents for mis-selling, and we will try to get your money back. The voice is becoming louder than what it ever was before, and as a result, people are talking a lot more about mis-selling than what they were earlier. To reiterate and to give comfort to anyone and everyone who's listening to me, the regulatory framework as well as the checks and balances which the industry and the organizations are putting in place, including organizations like India First Life, mis-selling has to and necessarily will reduce. Everything else is noise.
Sure, sir. I think absolutely right, sir. And sir, I just want to check on the other thing. The companies are focusing more on digitization to reach out to more customers, can you please highlight few important initiatives of India First Life on technology front?
Thank you so much for asking this question, Doctor. One of our stated objectives right from the beginning has been that India First Life will be a disruptor when it comes to technology. Let's marry this objective with the first question you asked, which is on insurance for all by 2047. Unless we use technology to get to every nook and corner of the country, insurance for all by 2047 will remain a pipe dream. Technology is no longer a luxury when it comes to life insurance. It's an absolute necessity. As far as we are concerned, I'm delighted to share that we are early adopters of technology. We started off our business way back in 2009-10. Since then, nearly all our policy applications have come in through a tab. We have not had physical forms since the company started its business operations. Today, our entire process does not need human intervention. It is all technology enabled. You have a tab wherein you can enter customer details. There are various integrations we are working on so that customer data can be plucked out without really troubling the customer. For the supporting documents, one can take photographs of the documents and upload them onto the tab. The customer consent can be taken by way of a simplistic OTP. And finally, the policy can be sent back to the customer on email. Effectively, the whole journey does not need any sort of human interface. And it is not restricted to that. Even today, once the policy is sold, a large part of the servicing is done through self-service using Gen AI-enabled bots and state-of-the-art customer portals. Gone are the days wherein customers would call up, talk to a customer service executive, and detail out the concerns or the servicing request. Today, they can get onto the customer portal, punch in their mobile number, get an OTP, which, when entered, the customer can do whatever they want as regards his or her policy. So, technology is one of the most critical input factors. When we talk about insurance for all by 2047, I'm glad to share with you that India First Life has been an early adopter of technology, and the focus on technology will continue, given that it's part of our most important strategic objectives.
Thanks for sharing the initiative, sir. So the other thing I just want to check is we are already in H2 and midway through Q3. What are the top three priorities for India First Life Insurance till this financial year end?
Wrapping up the entire priority set that we have into three is a challenge. However, let me attempt. On the distribution side, we clearly want our dominance on the bank insurance channel space whilst developing our non-banker pieces aggressively. By the time we exit the current financial year, we want a non-banker piece to contribute to approximately, give and take a few, 20% of our total business, which is something that has never happened historically. Traditionally, most of the business has come in from bank assurance. However, we want to get in some meaningful volumes to complement bank assurance by the time we end this financial year through other channels. This will help diffuse the so-called concentration risk and enhance our reputation as a multi-channel distribution company. The second priority will be around customer outcome. You did mention something about misselling, and while I vehemently denied it, as an organization, we continue investing on customer outcomes. We track the net promoter score very minutely. We have something called as instant recovery, which means that if a customer calls up with a specific concern, while the concern is getting addressed, the servicing recovery happens so that the next customer does not face the same problem. We measure NPS not only at a relationship level, but also at a transaction level. So you will know what our NPS score is for, let's say, customer onboarding, or for, let's say, persistency, or for, let's say, claims. It's tracked literally for every transaction, ensuring that we have a devout customer at the end of the interactions is something which is our second biggest priority. And here, I'm going to spend a couple of minutes more and explain to you why I specifically use the word devout customer. When we look at a typical X by Y grid, we have customer experience on the X axis, and on the Y axis, we have customer expectations from the life insurance company. If the customer experience is high, but the customer expectations are low, the customer is delighted, and the company boasts of having an delighted customer. However, at India First Life, we always endeavor that the customer has very high expectations from us, and consequently, we deliver a high customer experience. This is when a customer moves from being delighted to one who's devout, and a devout customer is a customer for life. The first one was around distribution. The second one was around customer outcome. The third one, which we are very proud of, is all around our employees. In a business like ours, the raw material is nothing but our people. We are in the service industry, and at the end of the day, it is very, very important for us to ensure that our people are at their motivated best. The reason being, if they're not at their motivated best, it could cause attrition. And if it causes attrition, the face that the customer sees will be a different face every time, and the customer will not feel comfortable. This, in turn, impacts productivity. We've also noticed that for an employee to hit peak productivity, it takes at least a year, and managing him or her with kids' gloves in this 1 year period is extremely important. Additionally, a lot of people ask me what we do differently when it comes to people and people management. And I tell them something which is seemingly so simple. I tell them that there are two types of people who work in an organization. It's a little bit technical, so let me try to explain with an example. There are the 24s and there are the 48s. The 24s are people like me who are sitting in head office where the air conditioner is automated to 24 degrees Celsius. Basically, we are sitting in a good space. The 48s are the people on the field who give their blood and sweat into getting India First Life its business. As long as each one of the 48s experience India First Life the same way as the 24s do, you can be rest assured that they will be motivated. This is a singular message that we try to work on, and we try to ensure that the 48s get the same experience that the 24s get. And if we manage this equilibrium, we are pretty sure that the motivation levels will be high and they will give their best, absolute best to the organization. So, Doctor, in summary, 3 points that will continue to remain our focus area, and they are distribution, customers, and employees.
Thanks, sir. Thanks for sharing the priorities. Sir, where do you see India First Life in the next 5 years? What are going to be the key focus areas for you?
5 years is a long enough time and still not that long enough. It is that middle time that we all speak about and dwell upon. One of the nuances of a life insurance policy is that it's extremely long term in nature. So, when an individual buys a life insurance product, they are contracting with a life insurance company for anything between 10, 20, 30, or even 40 years. That's data point number one. The second data point is, fortunately or unfortunately, because of the propaganda that is there around insurance as a product line and around mis-selling as a norm, the trust factor when it comes to buying a life insurance product is not necessarily high, which is why, for a layman, insurance is often categorized as a push product and not a pull product. That is data point number two. And now, the third data point, which is the fact that we need to get to insurance for all by 2047. Now, if we have to marry the three data points, the only way to do that is when the consumer, maybe over the next 5 years, thinks of India First Life, he or she can say with 100% surety that this is a company that I can blindly trust. This is a company where what I see is what I get. This is a company which will not have too much of fine print either in its products or in its policies. This is a company where, irrespective of what I've understood, I'll be sold a product that I genuinely need. It's a journey. But today, if insurance for all by 2047 were to happen, and if we want to turn insurance into a pull product, and we want to take insurance to the last mile consumer, it is critical to be recognized as an organization that one can blindly trust. That's where I would want this company to be in 5 years' time.